All right, let's see if we can get the computers up. All right. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 28, 2025. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order, and Stan, I'll lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings you bestow on us, and thank you, Lord, for this county and for all our citizens. And Lord, we just ask you to bless each one of them and take care of each one of them. And we always think and pray for our law enforcement officers and first responders and those that serve our military across the country and across the world. Just ask you to be with them and protect them. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Monroe, and our new Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall, presiding over the meeting. Commissioners, you have the minutes from January 14th, 2025 regular session. Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. This time we'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff. They may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. Do we have anybody wish to come forward and speak to the court today? Being none, I'll close the public testimony. Under old business, number 1, quarter report for Northeast Texas Children's Museum. Charlene?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So the Children's Museum ended 2024 with 47,136 in attendance. We're still trying to reach 50,000. We did have 25 more than we had the year before, so we still think that can be our goal. In October, we had a glow night, and this was kind of a combination of lights and Halloween. And this was a family event and was well attended. Then we had in November, we brought turkeys to the museum so children could see the live turkeys just before they ate them for Thanksgiving. And then in December, we had brunch with Santa. Commerce Little Angels did the pancake breakfast, and we had pictures with Santa. And this was followed by a new event, which was New Year's Eve. And our ball dropped at 12 o'clock noon. So the children came at 9:30. Everybody got noisemakers. They made New Year's Eve hats, and we turned out the lights at 12 o'clock noon and dropped our big ball. So that was a fun event also. This month, beginning in January, we've had 400 students attend our Science Month, and we've also had field trips. And of course, we're getting ready for our biggest event of the year, which is this Saturday, February 1st, the Daddy-Daughter Dance. This year's theme is a Princess Ball. Last year we had 700. That year's theme was Barbie's Ball. So we don't think we'll have as many as we did for Barbie's Ball, but we're still looking forward to a good group. We're excited that this year we can use our new expanded area of 3,100 square feet. So definitely we can meet all the codes if we do have that many show up. But in February, we will have Century Kids, which is sponsored by Caravide. We've also been approved by State Farm for a new roof for our building, so we're very excited about that. And we're looking forward to a very busy spring, beginning the second week in February until the middle of May. We already have 100 students booked every single day, and that is for 12 weeks. And we will have others. Right now, it's mainly people in the morning. We can do afternoon sessions, so we will have a very busy time between now and the time I see you next. And a lot of these field trips bring as many as 50 parents with them. Because our field trips are for second grade and under, when the kindergarten and the pre-K come, it's like all their parents want to come and see what they're doing. So we put that on our calendar, so if parents just want to come and visit, they can look on our calendar and see how big the group is and when they will be there. And our field trips are our best advertisement, because the kids have to stay in their groups. They don't get to play as long as they want to, and that's kind of a planned thing, so that they'll want to come back again with their parents. But it's all a very fun time at the Children's Museum, and we appreciate your support, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Was that turkey event advertised as a farm to fork event, or how? No.
As always, Charlene, we appreciate what you guys do for the kiddos, and as always, we invite anybody to come over and go through it. I know you always show them around. Mr. Smith, you get a chance, it'd be great to go over there and see what it's all about. This time I make a motion to approve.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 2 under old business, presentation to the Commissioners Court regarding proposed Quinlan tax increment investment zone. John?
Thank you, Judge, members of the court. Appreciate y'all letting us come here today. We're really excited about the development that's going in the county, or all over the county. I know I don't have to tell you all about that, including Southland County. So we're really excited about this proposed tax increment reinvestment zone. The bottom one. Yeah,
You ready for me to hit send?
there you go. Okay.
I see it. Yeah.
Did everybody get a hard copy?
Can somebody see if that's up online?
It is.
It is.
It is? Okay.
We're good. Well, I'm going to turn it over real quick to Dave Hawes with Hawes Hill and Associates. But again, I just wanted to tell you all, thank you for allowing us to be here. We hope to be back to talk to you more about it. And if you don't have any questions for me, I'll turn it over to Mr. Hawes
All right, thank
to
you.
the presentation. Thank you.
Judge, members of the court, pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here, actually. And it's an honor for me to represent the city of Quinlan and the city of Quinlan's Economic Development Corporation. I want to point out Mr. Charlie, Mr. Charlie Thompson is here. He's a member of the EDC board for Quinlan, and Miss Debbie Darter, who is the executive director of the EDC. They are my client, but we're doing this for the city of Quinlan. I think we all know that what's coming toward us from the east. I live in Mineral Wells, Texas. I was born and raised there, and we got the same issues coming our way, like a freight train. And all you have to do is drive from Rockwell or from Royce City down to Quinlan, and you can see exactly what's going on. And I was in Strawn, Texas last night. I'm the executive director of their EDC, and we're facing the same situation with the new Palo Pinto Mountain State Park, and things are getting out of control, and we want to manage growth. And that's what this is really about, is having the ability to manage growth and plan for it, and not just wait and see what happens. So that's really the premise for all of this. Any questions about that? Okay, let me just start. And which one do I click? It's a mouse, so. Oh, I have to go over there and. Oh, I see. Okay, very good. Hey, I'm 72 years old and I'm still learning.
You're just a youngster.
I'm just a youngster. I'm still learning. Anyway, so I just want to point out, went the wrong way, that way. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. I appreciate your patience. All right, so in November of this past year, there was a public hearing held before the city council was duly published and noticed. And then in latter part of November, the city council did create the TERS 1 for the city of Quinlan. A preliminary project plan, finance plan was prepared for the public hearing. That's required by state law. And that is what is used to take public testimony and to understand where it's going to go. Now, in that same ordinance that created the zone, they created a board, and it's a 7-member board at this point. And we have, the city has appointed 4 board members so far. There is 1 position available for the county if you participate, and of course 1 for the hospital district if they participate. The purpose of the board at this point would be, once we get it fully staffed, the board members on, would be to review the preliminary finance plan and make it final. And then they vote on it and submit it to the city council for approval by ordinance. So I just want to let you know that's where we're kind of right here in the middle of between creation and activation, so to speak. Just from a base year is 2024, because that's the base year, January 1, 2024. That means that any taxes valuation in January 2024 remains with the county, remains with the city, remains with the hospital district, the revenue from that. So that's what the base year is about. The first year for increment is 2025. But of course, that's not collected until January 2026, fully collected and then dispersed. The termination year is 2054, is currently a 30-year zone. And sometimes people ask, why 30 years? Well, if you're doing particularly infrastructure development work, it takes about 18 months and 20 months to start doing the infrastructure design, then another 20 months to kick things off, and it doesn't all happen at once. So if you're going to have reimbursement agreements, whether it be with the county could be a developer, the city could be a developer, or a private entity could be the developer, hospital district could be a developer. So these development agreements that are approved by the TERS and by city council have to follow those tenets. So purpose of the zone is to finance construction of infrastructure and public facilities to catalyze residential and commercial development and redevelopment. I think we all know that we can't have commercial development without beds, rooftops and heads in beds. That's just the way economics works. And we know it's coming, but what Quinlan, as a small community, does not want to have happen to it, ringed by a bunch of municipal utility districts. These independent governments that then are making decisions that have a tremendous effect on the downtown area and could swallow it up, could just really cut it off. So I'll talk more about that when we get into this. And of course, increased property values and revenues from the zone boundaries are used to fund projects, and the projects are related to infrastructure, public infrastructure. So, as I said, project development investment. We want to see more commercial, which then makes residential viability, makes commercial happen. So in this zone, when you look at the map, much of the property, on the next slide you'll see, is in the ETJ of Quinlan. The state statute allows for a city to create a zone in the city, but also to include land in its extraterritorial jurisdiction. The city of Louisville is a client of ours, has been for many, many years, and we did this 10 years ago, and with an annexation plan. And this year is the year for annexation. And so they will get the benefit then of the tax increment once they annex. And there were some agreements with the developers on that. There's many different ways to handle that. Most important thing here is you just don't enter into a development agreement and just pay somebody to pay for their infrastructure. You want something for it. And what we want is a higher quality development. We don't want to see tract housing and things of that nature. We want a higher quality development that produces disposable income for commercial development. That's the important thing. And of course, support the community vision and goals. All right, the zone boundary. As I pointed out, the way it has been created, there's 939 acres. you'll see that 768 acres is in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. And we are talking to developers who are in the process of purchasing or talking about developing that land. So for them to benefit from the TERS, they will have to annex into the city. Excuse me, that way the city can manage the growth and not be a victim of the growth. It's a contiguous zone. Even though the statute allows for it to be non-contiguous, I really don't believe in that. I've been doing this for 30 years. When I was Mayor Lanier's chief economist and director of revenue for the city of Houston, we inherited a TERS from the old Whitmire administration, and that's where I cut my teeth on zoning and everything else. We do have zoning in Houston down there. It's in that zone. I've been the zoning official since 1992, and I have never enjoyed 1 minute of it. On the residential requirement, you can't put in the zone current property that's more than 30% of the taxable value. You'll see that represents 3% as it is today. So most of this is in ag value. I'm so sorry. Sometimes happen, I get this thing in my throat. So the land use, 91% of the land in this zone is agricultural and undeveloped. So when it comes out of, say we have a developer come in and it comes out of thank you, sir, you're very kind. When it comes out of ag, you have the 5-year rollback. And so when it rolls back across the base year increases. So I just want y'all to be aware of that. The base year will increase. So the base year, as it exists today, if something happens 3 years from now, it'll roll back across that base year, and the county and the hospital district will enjoy that additional revenue of at least taking it out of ag. So I just want to point that out. Commercial right now is 4%. Single family, as I mentioned, is only 3%, and multifamily is 1%, and exempt is 1%. Now, what's interesting is when we look at existing conditions and feasibility, when we talk about taxable value, even in ag value, this talks to I don't want to use the term poverty, but the disproportion of values within Quinlan. 16% of the valuation is in ag value. And commercial is 53%, and single family is 21% of the value, and multifamily is 20%. I mean 10%. So that tax value right now, based on the last certified value, is $20.6 million. If you flip back over and look at at your leisure, you'll see the difference in how much is ag and then how much is the value versus is quite interesting. I think it tells a story about why this reinvestment zone is needed, quite frankly. The goals, infrastructure. Infrastructure, means public infrastructure, water, sewer, drainage, paving, as well as flood risk reduction enhancements. And anybody that drives from Royce City down to Quinlan, you can tell there's a lot of low land, and even around Quinlan, there's a lot of low land. And so this is going to require proper development, proper flood mitigation, things of that nature. Mobility and connectivity. This is another aspect of making sure that the road networks, the commercial corridors, all this works. So from a truck route standpoint, from a residential and commercial automobile transport, and then also walking. I listened to a TED Talk the other day. I don't usually listen to them. And the guy said the three most important things is your heart, your lungs, and your thighs. Back in the day before we had cars, we walked to see our friends. And so he said, and now we drive to see our friends, but going to see our friends is very important. Walking is very important to our better health. That speaks to the hospital district. Housing and neighborhoods. Expand and diversify local options and enhance area neighborhoods. Now, this is not talking about doing all high end. We all know that when we have commercial development, we need workforce housing. If you don't have workforce housing, we're facing this issue in Mineral Wells. A lot of people want to come out here. We got a lot of people that want to bring manufacturing to Mineral Wells. We don't have the houses. We just don't have them. So I've spent the last 4 years as I work I have a contract as assistant to the city manager in Mineral Wells for the last 5 years. And I've been working on getting housing in place so that it can sustain the growth and so of commercial and manufacturing. So this is very important to take a holistic view in the planning of Quinlan. And this is what we're really talking about here. We all working collaboratively together to plan Quinlan's future so that it's the correct future, and again, I'm going to use the term, not a victim of its future. Parks and public facilities, we all know, as I get back to the thighs, walking, exercise, health and wellness is extremely important. People, us men don't make decisions about buying houses. Our wives make that decision, and they want parks, they want public amenities, they want good schools, they want all those good things. And so it's very important that we take a holistic approach to the planning of Quinlan and making sure it meets all the criteria that somebody will want to be there. And of course, probably the most important thing, all that drives economic development. All those 4 items is what drives economic development. And so then we're staged to possibly for the EDC with increased sales tax to do projects with the hospital or with the county to implement economic development programs that will be the benefit not only to Quinlan but the area around it. Any questions about that? We took a look. We have some engineers that we worked with, the Gage Engineering, which is part of HDR Green now, and we looked hard at different areas and how it could develop out, and we came up with a total project cost of $61 million over the 30-year life of the zone. Now, it could be $70 million, it could be $40 million. It all depends on the rate of growth and how we do this, and this is just a projection. But that's a lot of growth and valuation over a 30-year period in project costs. Taxable value, current value is $20.6 million. We're projecting, and in our firm, when we do this now, we do 3 different options, low, high, medium. This represents a very low to medium growth rate, about 3%, but it could go upwards to $600 million in valuation. I just point out we're only asking you to participate at 50% of your tax rate. So if you participate at 50%, you will enjoy the other 50% of that valuation into your general fund. And I just point that out. Any questions about that? Projected revenues, our estimated revenues at Quinlan at its rate, the county at 50%, and the hospital at 50%. Based on the criteria I just laid out before, it's about $77.9 million. Estimated TERS revenues are 46. Again, there are other factors in the revenues that can come into play, but we put both those numbers up because we know they can be somewhere in between there. City participation rate is only 70%, so that they can also pay for the additional services that are required when you have growth in a city. I work with the city of Wolfforth out on the edge of Lubbock, have been for many years, not with a TERS, but just trying to manage growth that comes out from Lubbock, and the big issues of dealing with how you have people showing up, but you got to provide the water and sewer and things of that nature. So they're the same issues that Quinlan will face is how do we provide the water, the sewer in advance and knowing that this is coming and being prepared for it. We're asking the county to participate at 50%, the hospital at 50%. As I said, the zone would terminate at December 31st, 2054. I want to point out and I know your county attorney is here, your civil attorney is here. I think we're going to have it the same way it has. Have you done it with Caddo Mills and talked to the hospital district about it? Is that you have a say. Your appointee has a say about whether county dollars can be used for a certain project, and there's some lockdown in there. There's a whole section about what it can or cannot be used for. County dollars can be used for. So the county is very well protected by its veto vote and by saying what the county will or will not participate in when you see the participation agreement. County revenues, This is what we're expecting over the life of the zone. At 50%, it's 13 million, 13.4 million, that's what it translates to. And then that amount would be 13 million retained, the equal amount retained by the county. Hospital district, that shows you there what they are. And then, as I said, to finalize this, is we did have the public hearing based on the preliminary financing plan. I had talked with the hospital district attorney. He had an agreement that, you know, that the city council approved the preliminary finance, and you don't, the preliminary financing plan is used as a tool for the public hearing. It is not a document approved by city council. It's the final project plan and finance plan that is voted on by the TERS board with your representative that approves the final plan, and that is the one that goes to the city council and is approved by ordinance. But it was created in 2024. Like I said, the TERS board will approve the final project plan, submit it to the city, and the city council will have to approve it by ordinance. And then in the middle of all this, execution of interlocal agreements will be called participation agreements with the county and hospital district. We're not going to take any action by the TERS board until we have participation agreements in place by the hospital and if they are in you, if you're going to participate. I don't think the TERS board should be making any decision unless the whole board is there doing it. And that's what I have. Do you have any questions?
Commissioners, you got any questions? Did I understand that Quinlan, it will be annexing in all of the properties as projects are coming into the TERS?
Yes, sir. If the developer wants to receive the benefit of the TERS, they will have to voluntarily annex.
Annex, okay.
Yeah. No, the city is not going to go out and annex property.
No, I knew that, but with the property, they'll have to come in.
This is kind of the carrot approach.
Right,
Okay?
yeah.
I was curious, how does the voluntary process work?
Well, I just did one for the city of Strawn on a historic thing around, the property owner petitions the city. You have 2 public hearings, and then you do an ordinance, and then you annex it.
So it's relied upon them. There'll be a marketing, obviously,
Yes.
campaign to.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Gary's first meeting.
Yes, I know. And
He's, used to, the cities could go out and annex at will. Now the state has stopped that. So now a landowner has to ask to come into the city.
And-
So it has to be voluntary. That's what he's talking about. There's no mandatory, you can't do it that way anymore.
Used to be that way, and back in 1963, I believe it was, the big first in, first right lawsuits between Pasadena and the city of Houston. Everybody out there was just annexing everywhere, all over everybody. It was just a mess. So it went all the way to the state.
You didn't make very many friends, is that?
Yeah.
No, there's still some, I hear, it's today, and there's still bad feelings.
On the slide where you had goals, you listed the 4 or 5 things there that would be part of this.
Yes, sir.
So curious, are those, to me, goals is something you strive for.
Yes, sir.
So in something like this where you're going to get taxes, you're making commitments to developers, are these commitments to developers? Are they commitments to landowners? Are they commitments to, new residents? What is a goal?
It's a commitment to everyone, to the citizens of Quinlan, the residents who may buy a house, to the developers, to, what the developer is doing in this situation is advancing private dollars on behalf of the city and the TERS to put in public infrastructure and get paid back. So it gets back to the point, like in Wolford, trying to have to build a new water tower and a treatment plant, and where's the money going to come from? Because now you got 5 houses, you got another 100 houses coming, and you got to get it in place, and you don't have the money to do it. Does that make sense, sir? And by the way, welcome. Congratulations. Just be careful what you ask for.
I'm just trying to be careful what I ask.
Oh, like my mom always said, the only bad question is the one not asked.
All right, anybody else?
Just to clarify, the participation in the TERS is voluntary, so
Oh, yes.
theoretically, there could be development that doesn't choose to participate in that.
Oh, yes. If they don't annex into the city, then
Right.
they're not, then they would not,
Gotcha.
because the tax rate is not.
And you may have, I apologize if you said this and I missed it, but on the projected revenues generated, Is that based on an assumed level of participation in the TERS?
It's based on 50% of the county, 50% of the hospital, and 70% by the city.
Participation by development
Yeah.
in the district?
Yeah, it's based on the tax rate, the cumulative tax rates.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your
You bet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. I can hit back to send camera, we hope.
We're back.
We're back to normal. All right. Commissioners, you have the consent calendar in front of you. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So move.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item B, action items, approval of accounts payable.
Hey, should I make a motion, we pay the bills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second.
You got a second?
Yeah.
All right. Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Approval line item transfers.
Make a motion to approve line item transfers.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion to approve budget amendments?
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Make a motion to approve payroll and personnel.
Second?
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 1, Treasurer's Monthly Report for September, October, and November. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 2, Quarterly Report for Audie Murphy Cotton Museum. Susan?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for letting me come and present our quarterly report to you. Over the past 3 months, we've had visitors from 37 different states, including the District of Columbia. And internationally, they came from South Korea, Japan, Germany, England, Mexico, Norway, and France. There was a total of 891 paid visitors through the museum, and a total of 1,171 actually signed our guest book during the quarter. Our visitors spent 31 nights in local hotels, which included Hampton Inn, Comfort Suites, Super 8, Knights Inn, Holiday Inn, and Best Western. Some of our group tours, they came from the Jefferson Highway group. It was a convoy group in old, like Army trucks from Vietnam era, World War II era. So they were doing a whole multi-week trip along the Jefferson Highway, and they stopped at the museum and had breakfast and toured. It was really cool. The Greenville Christian School, 2nd grade, came out. Homeschool group out of Caddo Mills. 3rd grade from Dodd Elementary. Wolf City High School and Celeste 5th grade also came out. Our lunch break special speakers for the quarter included Dr. Mark Moreno, who spoke about the barrio gangs of Silicon Valley. In November, Terry Thomas talked about his years in the Air Force. And in December, Bill Huthmacher gave a presentation on the British Flying Training School. We also had a World War II roundtable program where Stephen Moore talked about General Patton. In October, the museum had its Goofy Golf event, and in November, we had our Frontier Day event where the kids played games, learned archery, made butter, did crafts, and learned how to make rope. And this year, for the first time, we also had a chuck wagon out, which was a big hit. We also held the Cotton and Rural History Conference in November. For our movie nights, we showed Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which is one of my personal favorites, starring Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, and King of the Bandits, starring Gilbert Roland. We also installed a new temporary Christmas exhibit, which was a collection of Dickens Village buildings and houses, and we also decorated the Indy Yard House this year for Christmas because we were on the Altrusis Tour Homes this year. So there were, they think, around 200 or so people that came through and saw that, so that was really cool. We also just, if you haven't been out in a few days or a couple weeks, we just got the driveway redone. So yay, it looks awesome. They still have some things to do in the spring. They have to do the parking lot and some other things. So, but we're really happy and excited, and it looks amazing. Cool. So if anybody has any questions, be glad to answer.
Commissioners?
I just want to say, I always love the museum. It's a great place for family. My kids grew up there, and every time we have family and friends travel to the area, it's always the main stop. Great legacy for country, state, and local. It's a great place. Make a motion, we approve the report?
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Susan. Action item 3, the quarterly interpretation discussing current ag life events and educational programs. Mary, or, okay.
Me today, it's been a whole year.
Oh, I got a sin. We're going to do,
It is a copy of the Hunt County 4-H. So.
done.
It's working.
Working? Good. All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kirsten Polk. I'm the Hunt County 4-H Program Assistant, and I'm just going to give you an overview of some fun things that we're doing and some fun things that happened last year. So currently in Hunt County, we have 8 Clover Kids, so that's K through 2nd grade 4-H members, and then we have 131 traditional 4-H members, and traditional just means 3rd through 12th grade. And then we have 32 volunteers that support the program through being a club manager or project leader or general 4-H program support. And those volunteer hours are just under 1,100, which is super awesome. And we currently have 5 clubs: Caddo Mills, Commerce, Greenville, Lone Oak, and the Wolf City 4-H Beef Club. So we're super excited about that. Curriculum enrichment it spans outside the regular 4-H program. So last year in May, we went to PTAA, and then in the Heritage Garden, we hosted what we call a Science of Ag Day. And students participated in stations, electrical safety, bees, planning, poultry, and that was a super fun time. Our community partners included Hunt County Farm Bureau, Hunt County Beekeepers Associations, Hunt County Master Gardeners, JUICE, and the NRCS office. And those numbers total up to 880 Hunt County youth impacted through Science of Ag and Egg to Chick. Egg to Chick is where a teacher or a librarian or a community member commits to a 21-day process of hatching chicks in their classroom. And we impacted 418 through that, and the 12 volunteers assisting would be the teachers or whoever we got to do that. And then new this year is the County 4-H Ambassador Program. So the County 4-H Ambassador Program was designed to provide local free opportunities to traditional members. So for example, we have ambassadors that are working towards like poultry projects, community service, market goats, and we've actually done a few cool things. The top left-hand picture, our community service ambassador, she organized a cocoa bar and we took it to the police station. This is Miss Cora, Mary's daughter, and with her chickens. That was at our Clash of the Clubs recruitment event. And then the last 2 pictures are also at a recruitment event. That is Miss Cheyenne, our market goat ambassador, and Miss Erin, who I'm going to introduce in a second. She is a Hunt County ambassador mentor and a state ambassador. So, Erin.
Hello, good morning, y'all. My name is Erin Beal of the Greenville 4-H Club, where I serve as president. I've been in 4-H for 9 years, and now I serve as a Hunt County 4-H ambassador mentor. Through this, I've been able to help my fellow Hunt County 4-H members and ambassadors figure out what they want to do as part of this program, as well as go out and teach people in my community about 4-H and get to know more people in the community. And through Hunt County 4-H, I have learned about the opportunity of becoming a Texas 4-H Youth Livestock Ambassador. Through this ambassadorship program, it is run through 4-H and the AgriLife Extension. I have opportunities to travel across the state, to meet new people, get experience to see livestock and ag all across the state, and much more. Scroll down. Okay. All right. During my time in this program so far, I felt more confident in my knowledge in livestock and ag. I'm more prepared and relaxed when speaking in front of people. I'm ready to advocate for all things ag in my community, and I'm open and aware of all the career opportunities in the ag industry. I'm more grateful for the opportunities I'm given through 4-H, and most importantly, I'm more appreciative of the farmers and ranchers that work 24/7 to provide the fuel for our nation. Through seeing the differences in livestock and ag across the state, I'm ready to give back to the community by sharing what I've learned. I can share my experiences of representing 4-H at the state level and how it is different from just being on the club and at the county level. Sharing programs I've learned that can further other 4-Hers' interest in livestock and ag, and how to expand your network by connecting with people across the state, which has helped me so much in my journey through 4-H. Thank you for your time, and are there any questions?
Commissioners?
Good job.
Very good job, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
You bet. Excellent.
If you'll give me your number, I'll send you the picture I took of it.
Is that it? Well, you're not going to talk to us today, Mary?
No, I just want to hijack the 4-H system.
You don't want to be outdone, is what it is.
It's hard to compete with this.
Yeah, it is.
But I will say, Walk Across Texas is coming for county employees, just know we'll be knocking at your door.
All right.
Excellent job, Kirsten.
Good job.
Aaron.
Really good job.
Entertain a motion for approval of this report.
So, second.
Your motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all very much. Action item 4, Hunt County Delinquent Tax Collections, update by Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott. Patrick,
Good morning, Judge Stovall and Commissioners. Good to be with you all this morning.
you got a hard act to follow.
I know. I feel like I'm being set up. I need to probably get it in front of the agenda and let all the good stuff behind. I'll be quick. I just want to provide you guys a quick update on the delinquent tax collections. Certainly appreciate the time. So, one thing I want to do is just kind of provide you an update on the turnover, the 2023 tax year collections, the overall collections, and I'm going to do a recap of the resale project we've been working on, which I'm happy to announce we've kind of completed. So if you turn to the second page in your packet, I'm showing here the overall kind of collections activities since July 2024. This would be July 1st, 2024 would be the first day that the 2023 taxes were turned over to our law firm for collections. So I'm showing over 1,200 phone contacts, over 7,100 letters mailed, 361 address updates. We're researching, new addresses for folks on return mail, trying to track down folks to get them information about the taxes that are due. In the bankruptcy section, I kind of want to highlight this. I'm showing here we've got 70 filings and reviews. So it's very important that we file on your behalf for the county into the bankruptcy court. Whenever an individual files bankruptcy or a corporation, that's filed in federal bankruptcy court. And it's important for us to go into the court, make a filing for the taxes that are due so that we protect your tax claims at the federal court whenever they approve the sale of the property or whatever, that is taken into consideration. So it's an important function that we do on your behalf, and so we're constantly monitoring the bankruptcy filings. And
Patrick, is that number about where it typically is?
That number is, this is important to point out, it's filings and reviews. So I just want to kind of call out that, when we're looking at these things, we're looking at potential cases. It's not that specific number of filings, but that's typical. It's typical because we're looking at all the bankruptcies to make sure that if you guys are in there, we want to file a claim on your behalf.
Is that only during this time period, or is that total?
It's during the July through December time,
Okay.
the 6-month time frame.
So we still have others that are still in process from prior areas?
Yes, sir.
Time frames?
Yes, sir.
Patrick, I'm curious, when you're protecting our interest, where do we fall on the priority? in the bankruptcy payment?
We are a secured priority claim because the tax lien secures the payment of the tax on the property, so it is a secured priority claim. It's not unsecured, but we just want to make sure that we get that claim and that dollar number into the plan so that that's all factored into the confirmation of the plan and the payment of the taxes. But it is a secure priority claim, to answer your question. 93 lawsuits, 14 pay agreements, and then excess proceeds amounts. Again, excess proceeds are amounts whereby we take a property to a tax sale, the amount of the sale is above and beyond the taxes that are due. There's a 2-year window where the former owner can come in and file a claim on that amount. And after that 2-year window, the taxing units can go in and file a claim for that amount with the registry of the court. So we're actively monitoring that, keeping track of that window, and filing those claims. The next page shows the status of the 2023 turnover taxes. So on July 1st, 2024, $1.7 million was turned over to our law firm, Base Tax Collection for collections. By the end of December, we're almost $627,000 of that collected. So between the delinquent and the on-time collections, your overall base tax collection percentage is 97.57% as of the end of December.
That's about normal, isn't it?
That's about normal. We're going to keep hitting that hard, but that red sliver there, that is essentially that your delinquent tax collections that remain outstanding that we're going to continue to collect. The next page shows a breakdown of your overall delinquency tax amounts through the 2023 tax year. Again, on the left side, I just kind of want to highlight a few things. We got 20% of that amount in active litigation. 32% of that is in deferral. And again, a deferral account is a resident homestead account that is either over 65, qualifies for a disability or disabled vet, and they file that application with the appraisal district, and by law, we cannot collect on that amount, but technically it's a delinquent account. So interest continues to accrue on that amount, on that account, and once the deferral comes off, then we can collect on the account. But I'm going to highlight a couple of other things there. One thing to highlight on the right side on the account breakdown, again, I do like to point this out. On your base taxes, 86% of your accounts are less than $1,000 base tax due. We're very mindful of that. And again, the cost of a lawsuit, if we filed on these folks, could be $750 between the filing fees, the service fees, research costs, things like that. So we are collecting on those accounts, calls and letters, but just something to point out. And that's takes me to the last page of the packet. And here I just kind of want to recap what we did for you on the struck-off resales. It was April of 2023, we kind of brought this to your attention that you had 124 properties that were taken to a tax sale, struck off to the county, and a lot of this was done before our firm was representing you. And so those properties were just sitting there. They're held in trust by the county. They weren't, collecting any sort of tax revenue. And so we took on the project of taking those properties back to the tax sale, and you guys passed a resolution to do that. And I think it was a huge success. All those properties are back on the tax roll. We did kind of different strategies on getting those sold. In most cases, we try to contact the neighbors and trying to generate some demand on those properties. But in some cases, we actually took adjacent lots and combined them, and we sold them as one tax lot. And that seemed to have some success because where before that maybe they're not been attractive because maybe they were small, we took it back to the tax sale as a combined lot, and we were able to sell it. So, and we were able to get $150,000 of taxes paid, and there was excess proceeds amounts as a result of those sales as well. So we captured that for you. But the most important thing was getting those properties back on the tax roll with a new owner and getting that tax revenue back, coming back into the county. That's all I have for today. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have on any of this.
Commissioner? We lost the commissioner.
We did. He has his packet, so, and he has my business card if he has any questions.
Noticed he had left. I knew he was leaving, I just didn't see him leave. No questions? Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. I appreciate you all, and let me know if you ever have any questions along the way.
You bet. Action item number 5, I guess we need to approve. Yeah, we need, I just thought of it. I checked it, but I didn't approve it. Entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Action item 5, the quarterly report of the City of Commerce Animal Shelter.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action item number 6, a racial profiling report for the Hunt County Sheriff's Office. Y'all got anything to say? Anything to report other than what we have?
Buddy Oxford, the report that was provided to you was generated through our records management system, but it's Captain Daniel Looney that gets the report completed. And it's amazing every year the stats that we collect or have to collect. And I hope y'all take the time to look through it and review it. Thank you.
Thank you, Buddy. Entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion. Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action item 7, discuss and take action to approve the form of multiple memorandums of understanding between Hunt County and multiple Hunt County law enforcement and emergency services entities for the issuance, receipt, care, inventory, accountability, security, and responsibility for the Hunt County-owned handheld and mobile P25 trunked public safety radios as issued by the Hunt County Sheriff's Office. Daniel?
All right, this is a 6-page document that's in front of you. As you all remember, we entered into a contract several years ago for a new P25 radio system with L3Harris. And more recently, the county approved the purchase of radios for smaller jurisdictions and VFDs for those radios. It became really clear that just giving these multi-thousand-dollar pieces of equipment to all of these groups over whom the county did not have control was not necessarily a good idea to do without a contract. So this contract is the answer to that. It lays out the responsibilities and obligations of the county and of the people receiving the radios, including addressing issues of liability for loss or damage to the radios. This was, the attorney in my office that worked on this was Aaron Huddleston, who's a 10-year police officer with Greenville PD, and worked doing county stuff for 3 or 4 years. And he worked with Virginia Phillips, who's here as well. I told her if y'all have any hard questions, she's going to have to come up and answer. This was, we went back and forth multiple times, making sure that all of the wording in this was calculated to protect the county from liability and to keep these radios and their access to sensitive information safe and secure by the appropriate directional liability push. And that includes the users are required to provide insurance certificates showing that they have insurance on these. On page 2, you'll see the user obligations, which are extensive, 3 pages, 2.5 pages of obligations. All of these were drafted based on, in part, some suggestions from from L3's group, and certainly by going through their contracts and looking at how the Virginia's office will work with these radios, and are calculated basically to make sure that these don't fall into the wrong hands and that we can handle it appropriately if they do, or if they are just accidentally broken. So I can answer any questions that you've got about this, but the idea here would be to require any group that receives these radios, which are many smaller PDs, either city PD or ISD PDs, or volunteer fire departments, would be required to sign this and maintain their obligations under the contract if they use these P25 radios.
So their governing bodies will have to approve them, not the
correct.
department?
That's correct.
Yeah.
The governing bodies have to approve, otherwise it's ineffective. This comes in, the reason, or the way that we're doing this is under the local government code interlocal agreement section, and those do have to be approved by the governing body.
Have you submitted that to any of them to see if they had any pushback on it or any comments?
No, I didn't plan to.
Okay. They're just,
This is a take.
take it or leave it? Okay,
Yeah.
that was my point.
Yeah.
Is there an expiration date or anything on this, Daniel?
I don't believe so. I think this is as long as they have the radios. I don't think that there's an expiration date built in. There's a term on the back, but it starts with 1 year and it automatically renews. So we call that an evergreen clause. And it does terminate under A, B, and C there on page 4. But that's basically at the end of the agreement. So once it's signed, it stays in place with automatic 1-year renewals.
And when you say governing bodies, so like the volunteer fire departments or the small or police departments, is it like the city council? Is it the board for the fire departments?
It would be whichever governing body covers that. So for the ISD, PD, that would be the school board. And for cities, it'd be the city council or whatever the governing board is. They have different names for the smaller cities. And then for VFDs, it would be the leadership of that department, not the city that bears the VFD bears the name of. Okay. So like the Quinlan VFD wouldn't go to the city of Quinlan, it would just go to the VFD board. Okay. And not the Hunt County Fire Association, okay. But each individual board.
Okay. Virginia, you have anything to add to any of this? No? Okay.
Daniel, one question, and it may not be fair to ask you, so I apologize, Reverend. Under county obligations, 2 in E, it says the county will take all reasonable actions to prevent any of the users lost or stolen radio units from gaining access to the network, including attempts to disable lost or stolen. Is that an IT function? Is that something we have to go back to L3 Harris? Any idea what that process would be?
I don't know. Do you know how it is we cut those off? I do that. You do that? Okay.
You do that? So it's serialized and you can control it at the serial number level? Okay.
For the people watching online, that's done by the sheriff's office dispatch. That's my understanding. Is that right?
I want to make sure that we had.
They keep it from being used anywhere or just on our system? The answer was she can fix it where it doesn't work at all. All right, commissioners, any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Daniel. Action item A, discuss the entering into a memorandum of understanding between Celeste ISD School District, a Texas Public School District, and Hunt County Sheriff's Office regarding overlapping jurisdictions and cooperation. Buddy or Daniel, who wants to go first?
This is a required item since the school shooting last year and legislation that came out about that. All of the ISDs, PDs have to enter into specific agreements that talk about what the overlapping jurisdictional requirements are. This one is different from all of the other MOUs that have come up recently, but with ISDs, those were to basically establish an school resource officer program. This is an MOU that describes what the cooperative efforts are going to be if there is an emergency at the ISD covered buildings. And so there will be more of these. This is, I believe this is the first one of these that we've done.
It is.
And so the others will look very similar. Of all the government lawyers, ISD lawyers are some of the hardest to deal with because they make a whole lot of different changes. So some of these may look a little bit different, but this is the way that it's set up is has been reviewed by the sheriff's office, and they're okay with the terms and the terminology within it. Then Buddy can obviously answer any questions that you got.
They don't, are we furnishing them? We don't furnish them a resource officer, do we? They got their own?
They have their own, they'll end up being employees of the school districts.
Okay. Any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 9, interlocal agreement with the City of Commerce, Texas for road maintenance services. Daniel?
All right, this is a very short and simple interlocal with Commerce. Over the past, well, the whole time I've been here, so 19 years, Precinct 4 has on and off done different jobs with the City of Commerce because the city doesn't necessarily have all the equipment that they need to do every maintenance job. They did have something that was coming up on the road close to the cemetery, Rosemount, or is it Rosemont?
Rosemount.
Rosemount. And we initially were looking into doing this just for that job. But there's a lot of things that Commerce needs, and we talked with Howdy Lisenby, their city manager, about doing a more of a evergreen kind of contract to allow this work without having to come back for ILA after ILA to come once, and then for everything that's under $50,000 to basically allow that to go through if the county has all of the necessary people and equipment, and as long as Commerce pays the full amount, both for the materials and for the total cost to the county taxpayer for all of the Precinct 4 workers' time, including all their hourly rates and the full freight costs for insurance and benefits and other things. If it's also approved by the county judge each time, and then that would come every 2 weeks that one of those comes up, would come back also for Commissioner's Court ratification. That's a legal way to do it, as long as it's not a series of contracts that add up to more than $50,000 for different things. As long as it's each individual job under $50,000, this meets the obligations that the county has under the Purchasing Act, and is a legal way to do it. This contract is already gone in front of the Commerce City Council, and they've approved it. And so if you approve this today, then Steve's crew can do that work. Commerce will have obligations, obviously, to pay for all that once those costs are calculated, and then subsequent jobs would have to get the approval of Commissioner Harrison and Judge Stovall, and then would come back for ratification so that the Commissioner's Court knows what's going on. But there will be no ultimate cost to the county taxpayers in general. All of the costs for this would be borne by the City of Commerce for jobs within city limits.
Daniel, is it permissible to, or legal to put a condition on that 50,000 and/or current state guidelines for bidding? Because I know there's a couple of bills I think are filed this time to raise that from 50 to, I think one was 100 and one of them was $200,000. So we don't have to, if they pass it, we don't have to come back in 6 months and redo this.
Well, you can't do that right now. because this complies with state law. If they raise that, we're just going to have to do this over again. Because this has already been approved by their group. And so that won't be effective until September 1st at the earliest, unless 3/5 of both houses approve it and the governor signs it for some reason.
Probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, there's zero chance.
And it may not even go up, who knows, but I know there's a lot of talk about it this time, because
That would be,
with the cost of everything, with inflation, it's, 50's not that much money anymore,
no, it's not, especially for
for things like what we try to do.
So it would need to stay this way for now, but that can come back after September 1st for a change, or even before then, if we know the law is going to be effective on September 1st.
Okay. All right, any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 10, interlocal agreement with Town of Portree regarding regulation of subdivisions in Portree's extraterritorial jurisdiction pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 242.
All right, so we have to have interlocal agreements with all of the cities in the area that want any sort of control over their ETJ. Some of those are obviously very old cities like Commerce and Greenville, and we've had those in place for a really long time with those. Greenville, I'm sure you all remember, recently changed after the fallout from the Highway 34 trailer park. This is a new one because Poetry is new. And so they had a outside group put together a series of interlocals. There's 3 counties that Poetry's ETJ is within: Rockwall, Kaufman, and Hunt. Rockwall and Kaufman have already approved theirs. Hunt's the last one. I didn't like the language, and so I especially after I talked with Brian Toole about what their proposed language would require from Hunt County, because it was things that we didn't already do and would be very expensive for our taxpayers in a way that we couldn't pass on to the developer. And so Brian sent me 3 things that were problematic about their version, and then I went through and changed all the liability sections and kind of flipped them the other way to make it basically keep Hunt County from ever being liable for anything. And Poetry accepted all those changes and voted on them. That's what you have in front of you. So that's the background. What it does is basically Hunt County keeps control over everything. Poetry has the ability to participate in some of the processes and give input. But otherwise, until Poetry adopts subdivision regulations that would apply outside of the city, which right now they can't do because the legislation isn't there. But until that happens, they basically are subject to the Hunt County restrictions within their ETJ. This doesn't really change much other than giving the county the obligation to let them know, Poetry, if anything comes up that's a proposed subdivision within their ETJ, and then gives them the opportunity to give input on that to the county, which is a very valuable thing because county can't, I mean, the people who do the work here are centrally located, and this is at the far southern end of the county where it's, I mean, it takes a long time to even get there. And so having some local knowledge and input on these things is very important. And obviously, I'm sure that you probably all know about, at this point, the fight that they're having down there about one of the many fights in that part of the county, but the big fight is about the mud that's being established just south of there, the Bishop Field mud. That fight and all the TCEQ-related actions related to that are what led to this recent push to get this done. This proposed MOU won't have any effect on that mud. Literally nothing that the county can do is likely to have any impact on the approval of that mud. But it will cause us to have, pathways in place to share information and to provide input for large developments like that within the ETJ.
All right, any questions?
So Daniel, this is written in a way that you referenced the Highway 34, development. It would give us input now in advance rather than living with it after the fact?
It would give us control, or it would give the county control.
Okay.
Counties, this is very similar to the way that the city of Greenville and Hunt County now have things set up.
Okay.
And is the opposite of the way that it was set up when the 34 deal was approved.
Okay.
But what we can't control is the mud and what the mud does.
That's right.
But if it's just an individual like the one on 34, we could have had some control over that.
Just curious, you said that Rockwall and some other cities accepted as it was originally written?
Yes. That was before I was advising them.
Okay, I was going to say they just kind of did that just as a rubber stamp almost, or?
Things work differently in other counties, so we can talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
This is basically making where they have to follow our subdivision rules in their ETJ.
That's right.
It falls in Hunt
Provides a
County.
legal basis where everybody knows that. This will put developers on notice that even within their ETJ, unless the law changes, Hunt County subdivision regulations are the ones that apply.
If it affects two counties, how does that work?
Then they are subject to both counties, and they can, the counties can work on, similar to the way that we did for the development on the far northwest corner of the county, where there's a road that comes in from Collin and then back over.
Right.
But there's no road going from Hunt County there. It does create a weird situation because it's not clear, without the governments working together, whether or not the Collin County rules should apply or the Hunt County. The law says the more restrictive of the two, but that doesn't mean much when you're talking about, one county says it has to be 20 feet wide and concrete, the other county says 30 feet wide, but with curb and gutter, and it has to be oil sand. Because you could consider either one to be more restrictive, and that was the exact situation that we were in.
Right.
And so for developments that are in both, there's not much land that's in both Hunt and Rockwall, or Rockwall and Kaufman, or Kaufman and Hunt. But to the extent that those do come up, the developers are going to have to make a deal if they don't want to have two different sets of road requirements. That those are easy to do. That's not a complicated thing to accomplish.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action item number 11, discuss and take action on proposal for Ramball Americas Engineering Solutions, Inc. to perform soil vapor collection and testing, monitoring well plugging and abandonment, as well as APAR completion revision required for the completion of the partially approved affected property assessment report due to the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality.
All right, this is an updated proposal for Ramball to do some work that needs to be done to meet state requirements on the Precinct 2 barn. This relates back to a problem that started about 25 years ago, and we have been in an enforcement proceeding with the TCEQ for 12 or so years. This is about a $50,000 estimate to do work that the state is requiring Hunt County to do to determine, to number one, plug some things called piezometer wells, which are little tubes that go down in the ground and have holes in them so that the water can be tested. And then number two, to complete some obligations and reporting, which basically at this point are to drill through the slab of the Precinct 2 barn to see what is in the dirt underneath the barn. There is zero maneuverability here. The county must do this work. And Ramball is by far if you look at quality and price, they are definitely the best group that we have ever worked with on keeping the prices low for what you get and coming back with super high quality results that are accepted by the state every time.
Gary, you know about this project?
Just what I've heard, and almost at the same level Daniel just described, it's probably about the
There was
extent of it.
some old drums or something buried out there and some other things that got buried, and then it got noticed and turned into the state, and then we had to clean them up. We cleaned up, we thought we were out of it in, 15, Daniel?
15 or 16.
15 or 16, we thought we were out of it. Judge Horn and Representative Flynn went to the head of the TCEQ and got a complete bill of health verbally, never got completed, and he, of course, I think a week later, he resigned or retired or something, so it never got finished.
Moved to private industry.
Yeah, moved to private industry. And then 8 years later, we get a letter saying we never completed it. And so now we're having to back up, thinking we already had completed it, and now we're trying to complete it. And so that's kind of where we're at right now.
And literally everybody involved, besides the commissioner at TCEQ, has passed away.
Oh, wow.
And so we only have, we have all sorts of things in writing, but not from the right people. And this is hopefully the last thing that we'll have to do to
Get rid of the tar baby. Literally a tar baby.
So I know you review all the Ts and Cs, so certainly much more qualified than me. I was curious about one of them where it's talking about everything that's under the ground. That could actually cause damage, injury, anything like that. Do we feel, other than the unknown and the things, do we feel confident in what we're able to provide? Because I made it very clear that it's our responsibility to provide them, knowledge and understanding of what is under the ground. I think 811, normally whenever they're saying that, does that go beyond that in this scenario?
Are you talking about our obligations to
Yes.
tell them? No, it doesn't go beyond that. This group, Ramball, has done all of the APAR. APAR is just a shorthand for the type of report that the TCEQ needs from a government when they're doing an enforcement action. They have done all the recent APAR testing. We fired the last group because they spent $500,000 to dig a few trenches. This group is very familiar with the site and the historical use of that site because the county has been basically the only historical user. And so they already know what all's there. And the 811s have been done multiple times. The part that they're talking about digging in, first of all, they're talking about digging a few small holes to get to the top of the piezometer wells, so there's not going to be any issues with that at all. The other part is under the slab, and that slab's been there for twice as long as I've been alive. And so there's not anything underneath there besides things that may have leaked in under the ground or through the slab. And so we do have an obligation to tell them what we know, but we don't know anything other than this is a dirty building. It's been dirty for a long time.
I think
Definitely not any sort of gas pipelines or anything that are going to be immediately damaging.
I think from pictures they had, David, you can correct me, but there was gas tanks or oil tanks in there in the pictures, so that's where we got to test underneath them.
Okay.
Where the waste oil container is.
Waste oil container. So that's where they're saying go under the slab and see if it penetrated through.
So Daniel, you gave these guys pretty high marks as a company.
Definitely.
So it's a time and material contract. So we pretty comfortable with the bid that they've given us, that's probably the top end, or what would be the risk on time and material here?
They've done lots of other work under previous contracts, and they've never been over by even 5%. In fact, this contract in particular, the last time they gave it to us was a year ago. And we asked them to redo it, and they came back and I think they increased it by about $2,000, which is a lot less than what I was expecting. They have some new, they sent over a new contract that they've been using for the past year. It was basically different just in one respect, that it had an indemnification clause, which we required them to take out. Because counties in Texas are not constitutionally able to indemnify anyone for anything. But as far as the percentage and them going over, or the dollars and them going over that amount, this is a very ethical and easy to work with company that takes their reputation very seriously. And so if it does go over, it's because of a legitimate thing, not because they are trying to put the thumb screws on a government.
Yeah. Thank you. I know a lot of elementary questions. I'm catching up.
Oh, no, that's good.
No, they're good questions. Any other comments? Entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 12, a request for the Hunt County Sheriff's Office to authorize a donation of $2,500 to the Hunt County Sheriff's Posse. The monies will come from the crime control budget. Sheriff, you got any comments or?
Stoved up there.
Getting old like the rest of us.
No, the Sheriff's Posse does a lot for the county. It's volunteer, nonprofit. They travel to a lot of training, put on trainings here, and they're also, you'll see them at the fair, working at the fair. If we have a missing child or a missing individual, they're search and investigation on that. So we found that it is able to come out of this under Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 59.6. So we'd like to help them out because, like I said, they do a lot of training and a lot of stuff on their own, everything on their dime.
Any questions? Excuse me. Any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move. Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Action item 13, discussion on the Exchange Building lease. Commissioners, we got notice that the tenant, which is the North Texas Central Council of Government, the COG, is going to be leaving our building. Their lease ends May of this year, and they informed me earlier, late last year, back in December, I believe, that they thought they had another location. And if you think back, when we did their lease 2 years ago, they were wanting to move then, and they couldn't find anything. So they asked if they could have a short-term lease. We didn't have to do anything to the facilities, and we gave them a 90-day out in that lease. So if they found something that was more appropriate for their current operation, they've been there 23 years or something. So we did that, and it's coming up in May. They had asked if we had waived the 90-day notice and payment, because originally they said they were going to get out in May, so it didn't matter. But now whoever's doing the work on the building is telling them they can move in March. So, I mean, they've been paying us lease forever, and I told them I didn't have a problem with it, but I had to bring it to the court to ask what y'all think about whether or not we ask for the continued payment to the end of the lease, and it may end up they may be there that long, who knows? Or if we're okay. I mean, they're another government entity like we are. I hate to ask them to spend government dollars and to pay to another government. So that's one question about it. Then the second thing is, and I don't know that we have to have an answer today, but we need to think about it. Do we want to put it back on the market to lease it or contact, City of Greenville or other tax entities and see if they want to come into the building or a private entity? Or do we want to look at occupying it ourselves? I know there's been discussion with the Puddin Hill building and how that we could have used that facility. There's not a whole lot of room in there. I think one floor has 5,000 feet in it, something like that, 6,000. The other one's got 3,000 or 4,000 feet in it. It's not conducive to most of what we do, but the DA, when we thought they were moving out last time, the DA expressed interest in moving over there. And one of those, the second floor, I believe it is almost perfect for him just to go move in. We'll have to do some minor things. So we could consider that in the redo with the Puddin Hill, with the entities that are moving out there, which is county clerk, home Homeland Security and Health Department, and voters, and then 911 and community development. There's not that much space leaving the courthouse. We had intended to occupy this building with the DA or county attorney, but the architects, when they evaluated this, because of the building being a jail, the walls around the health department are 18 inches thick with steel in it and concrete from floor to the roof. It's going to be pretty hard to penetrate through it, so it'd be an expensive operation to have to penetrate that a few places and then tear out some things in that part of the building for them to be able to occupy it. So, thought I have today that I ask y'all to think about is if we try to lease one floor maybe and let the DA move over there, or maybe ask the county attorney if he wants to go over there. That would open a lot of room up on the 4th floor for space we need, because the only space we're really gaining at the courthouse is the county clerk, which on the 2nd floor, the big main office is large enough to put another courtroom in, which we need today. We need it a year ago. And what the district judges are telling me, and Judge Aiken's in a trial all week, so she doesn't hear dockets all week. And Judge Bench, a month or two ago, had 6 consecutive weeks of 3 different trials. And when he got to his docket coming out of that, he had 93 items on the docket to catch up with. So if they can bring a visiting judge in and have a courtroom for it, it would really help their operations and stop us from having to ask the legislature to give us a 3rd district court, and it will prolong it a while and save us a lot of money, because it shouldn't be that expensive. That clerk's office is pretty wide open. Won't take a lot of construction to make it usable. And then the county clerk portion that's down on the 2nd floor behind purchasing, we planned and talked to the architects when they were helping us think about how to move things around. We'd move the auditor's office over there, and they work with purchasing a lot, so they could move over there. Won't take a lot to occupy that, and then IT can move into where the auditor's office currently is, because that was a bigger office. It was a wall that was put up years ago to separate it, and IT can't go anywhere else because all the servers are in that area and all the wiring's coming into that one location, and we don't want to have to try to rewire that building with all the concrete walls that we have. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, and probably be my recommendation. I've thought about it a lot, and we've had a lot of discussions about it with architects, and even when we were talking about moving things around in the last year or so. And then, of course, on the 4th floor, if either one or both of the attorney's offices leave, that courtroom is fairly small, which would give us some room over time, if need be, that we could expand that courtroom and make it a little larger as we continue to grow. That courtroom doesn't set a whole lot of people, so we'd be able to probably put offices in what is now some of the DA's office and tear out some of that and make that courtroom a little bigger. And probably might be a nice addition. I'm not recommending we do that today, but I think that would be a good plan for the future down the road, that would make it real simple. And we could certainly we still need to move HR out of where they are into a larger spot, so they could easily go up there. And there may be others that want to move around, but that gives us some flexibilities. If DA goes over and the county attorney stays, then he could expand into the DA's office. They're connected, so I think all they got to do is open a door, and they're connected. The door stays locked currently, and so it would not be very expensive for them to grow. And I think it'd be pretty reasonable expense-wise, but we need to do a little more detailed study on it.
So you would envision that those costs with the dominoes It'd be carried out over a couple of year window.
Oh, yeah, at least, yeah, because Puddin Hill, hopefully we'll bid it later in the spring, early summer. We're still in review of the plans. We probably have some changes or questions to get cleared up, and then we'll be ready to try to go out for a bid on it. And then it's gonna take year, 18 months probably to get Puddin Hill to a point where we're occupied at least, maybe till the point we can even go start occupying it. But, so we got a couple of years down the road, before.
As far as the current revenue, yeah, I'm just curious, what's the revenue off those couple of floors down that we'd be losing?
They're $20 a foot, and I didn't look at the total. Mary, do you know off the top? I don't, we can look it up right quick if you need to later.
It's not massive, though.
It's not huge. No, it's, I don't know, I don't want to say because I don't know, but it's several thousand dollars, but,
And what would be the cost if the DA was to go over there? Is it, I mean, I know you don't have a number, but is it a significant expense?
should not be. I mean, it's probably that it has not been updated since I've been there in early 2000s, so probably carpet and paint. They may have already replaced some carpet, I don't remember. I haven't been over there in a while. But carpet and paint, a lot of the office arrangement and all, when Noby was over there, said, you know, it worked pretty good. We might have to make a few adjustments and all, but nothing major. It's pretty wide open. They had a lot of cubicles, and then they had several private offices, and he said that would probably work real well for him. So we're supposed to go back over there at some point in time to get his opinion about what he actually would need, so we have a better idea of what that might be. But I wanted to get the court to make a decision. Like I said, we don't have to decide today, but I wanted to start the conversation so we know that what we want to do and what we're looking at, how much it's going to cost us.
So what you need today is an answer on.
90 days, yes, yeah. That's the only thing that we have to have today is, are we okay letting them pay through? I told my opinion was they're saying they're going to be moving out like by the 5th of March. And I said, well, you know, if you go longer than that, I think we're entitled to March payment. If you're out by the first few days of March and we want to waive the rest of it, I'm okay with that part. But if they go beyond the 10th or something, then they need to pay the whole month's rent. You can keep looking that way because there's two of them. I'm sorry, David.
I'm good with paying the end of March, you know, wait 2 months, if they move out in March, I'm good with that.
Y'all good with that?
Like I say, it's a government entity.
Yeah. And we pay into it, so I mean, it's kind of like we're taking out of one pocket and putting it in the other, so.
David, you want to table the way you just worded the motion?
All right, so, do I hear we have a motion to waive the last 2 months?
Yes.
If they're out by the 10th of March?
Yes.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Probably we can maybe next week, maybe we'll have some information, maybe we can have a special session. And Daniel, I guess if we want to all go over there and look at it, have to post it and.
Yeah, you have to post a notice of potential forum, but that's real easy.
Okay. Because they're still going to be occupied, so we'll have to get a clearance from them that we can go over there and walk through it. But at least I'd like everybody to go in twos or whatever, or if it'd be nice if we could all go at the same time and get out of there. So I'll see if we can arrange that, and then we'll try to post it. All right, action item 14, a proposal from Trot Communications Group for testing the Hunt County P25 coverage inside 57 identified critical buildings located throughout the county. Commissioners, I think y'all have a copy of the proposal, and Virginia, you can correct me or come explain it, but the bulk of what I understand they're going to be doing is testing those buildings to make sure we have in-building coverage with our radio system, and which is part of the contract we have with L3 Harris. And when we first started or was first discussing it, that wasn't being contemplated, and then Uvalde happened, and then all of a sudden every school wants in-building coverage, which expanded the project a little bit. But in the original, we did not have any money in their budget to do the testing. Did I say all that right, Virginia?
Kind of.
Kind of, okay.
So with the L3 contract, we didn't have any in-building guarantees. So we have, I think, 95% coverage, outdoor guarantee on those radios. So if there's something there that doesn't work, L3 is responsible to make sure that we have 95% coverage. But in that contract, there was nothing that guaranteed in-building coverage because that would have made our price go significantly higher, like hundreds of thousands of dollars higher. I think Van Zant did in-building coverage on their contract, and it was significantly higher. So anyways, that's what Trott's going to come in and do, is just test those buildings that we went across the county and just checked any big buildings that we have. All of our schools are on this list, hospitals, those places. We want to know what kind of coverage we have inside those buildings before we have an emergency inside those buildings and we can't get out. So then that gives the business owner an opportunity to go and get any kind of enhancements for their building so that they can have in-building coverage.
So what do you mean enhancements? Would they like put repeaters in the building to?
Kind of, yeah. I can't think of the name of the device, but I know that the hospital districts happen to purchase one right now for the Royce City, the new hospital build, because they did. I think Royce City has it in their fire code that if they don't get out and they don't pass a certain radio coverage test in building, they have to buy. It's like an amplifier for their building. So they're buying one now for that one in Royce City. Excuse me. But if we go and we identify that, say, like Cattle Mills, for example, can't get out at all right now on their radio. So with the new system, I'm hoping that that fixes that situation. But if they can't get out in certain places and they want to, they can go and they can get grants or they can get funding to buy one of those enhancers for their building so that they know that they have that coverage.
Wasn't there another option they could, on their cell phones, they could connect to the Wi-Fi inside the school buildings, assuming they had it?
Yeah, so if we identify other areas of coverage issues, then we can also put in the LTE. That's just, it's just another package that you can put onto, it's software, basically, into the radio, and all of our radios that we purchased have that ability to add that software if needed. So where you can just, you put a SIM card in it, works like a cell phone.
Okay.
And it works off FirstNet.
So it works off the radio, it doesn't have to be a cell phone then?
Correct.
Okay, I thought I remembered it the other way, so I was.
Yeah, you can put it in a cell phone, but you can also you can put a cell phone chip inside the radio.
Perfect. All right, any other questions?
This is just testing to make sure that they have coverage, and then if they don't have coverage in a building, then it'd be up to them to get the necessary equipment.
Correct.
But we're providing the testing to make sure that they do have coverage.
It's kind of it helps both of us. It helps whatever entity, so that they know that they don't have in-building coverage, but it also helps us as first responders knowing that, hey, when you go into Cattle Mills ISD, you don't have coverage if you're in the gym. And then if they go in, there's also an option, we have the LTE option with the SIM card, but there's also Wi-Fi. So like one thing I'm working with the hospital district on is getting one Wi-Fi across all their hospitals, their locations, so that I can put one Wi-Fi password into each of the radios to where when they walk into the hospital, the radio automatically flips over to that Wi-Fi if it's not getting out on the radio. So that's just one thing, but it identifies that there's a problem, and then we can address different ways to fix it. The Wi-Fi we already have built into the radios. LTE we don't have on all of the radios. I think it's only on the first 50 that we got off the original contract. So if we need to, then we'll address it at that point. But until we identify that there's a problem, it's just an expense we didn't take.
Is it any addition on your end of it, or is it just on whoever's out there on the building's end of it, their equipment? We have to change anything in dispatch to make it all work?
Nothing to do with dispatch. It'd just be the radios. Just the radios themselves, because, it'd just be the radios.
So I know this has a history, and so I'm trying not to relive any of those things. I'm just curious. We don't have a guarantee from L3 Harris. It sounds so odd for me to say that, but we don't have any guarantees indoor, right?
Correct. We have 95% guarantee. I believe it's 95% guaranteed outdoor coverage, but we have no guarantee for indoor coverage.
So we're testing, and I look at the list, and you know, a lot of big buildings and things of that nature. But these things are also going to be used, you know, sheriffs in homes, firefighters in homes. So we're going to have the same risk there from an indoor perspective, or is it really limited because of the concrete nature of a large structure?
It's usually just because there's some sort of science here that I can't explain. But it's something about the way the RF penetrates the building. And so like when you're down in a jail that's got 18-inch thick walls of steel and stuff like that, different things like that interfere. So I think when I was talking to my contact with the hospital district, he said that at the new one, it was just the x-ray room because it's got different things built into the walls, I guess, for that. So they couldn't get through that. So it's just different radio frequencies being able to penetrate into the building.
And I certainly don't want to make you have to go redo anything, but I was just curious, would there be any advantage while they're doing this to do some random checks in homes scattered throughout the county just to see? Because now that first of all, a great explanation, because when I first read this, I was going, we're doing what? Because and so now I have a better appreciation for it, but just so that we can advise the emergency users of this, that even when you're in a regular home, you may have issues or whatever, just make them aware.
I mean, I don't think that it would be, I mean, we'd have to find somebody that's willing to let me in their house.
Yeah. I'll let you come in.
We wouldn't need to have Trot do it. We could do that on our own. Is that what you're saying?
I would, just because I don't think we're going to have very many issues. Maybe, I mean, where we have so much coverage and overlapping coverage, and I don't see that we're going to have a big issue with like just a regular home.
Okay.
Generally speaking, right now, we don't have a big issue in most regular sized homes. Now, when you get into bigger houses and if they've got basements and things like that, you're kind of talking a little different story.
Or in the wrong part of the county right now, where we don't have good radio service right now.
Yeah, our radio service is really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we can still get out in quite a few houses right now of just a single family normal sized home.
Okay, that helps. I was just, when you said we had no coverage indoor, I was going, no guarantee for indoor. I was curious. The only other thing, and this is really kind of a smart aleck comment, the 3.4. When I look at the chart, for how they're going to measure it, I mean, it's really a calibrated ear that's doing this test, right? They're just going to walk through, do things, and say, I can kind of hear, I kind of can't, and so now they understand that really we're just kind of say, you generally are okay, you generally are not okay in any given facility.
Yes. I've been calling it the Marco Polo test, if it makes you feel better.
Right, yeah. It's not, there's nothing scientific is my point.
Yeah.
I know that there is some science behind it, but not enough, I don't understand it enough to be able to explain it.
I think that there is.
A frequency or something, or?
You can measure the.
I didn't know if we measured distortion, or how they were going to go about that.
I don't know how much the distortion figures into it, but the last time we talked about this Trot Communications is they're probably, of all the contractors we've ever used, the best ones on pretty much every level. Barry Black there has gone through. He's taught us more than we knew even existed about how those things are tested. He's been involved in every meeting back for 3.5 or so years. The last time we talked about this, it was, I don't think that the level of interference was the only facet that was looked at. It was that kind of in an algorithm with the strength of the signal and how the interference, like what the level of interference was as far as the time factor and the ability of people on the other end to hear a clear signal. And it's a very complicated set of things that they go through. It's not just...
It's not generic like that table looks like.
Yeah, it's not can you hear me now type thing. It's a specific set of measurements.
All right. Good to hear.
All right, any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Action item 15, the request for permission to do work within county road right-of-way along County Road 1119. We're looking to install a single-phase overhead distribution line 82 foot across County Road 1119 and install a pole approximately 1 foot inside the northern right-of-way of County Road 1119 under normal stipulations. Entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve construction under normal stipulations.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 16, request permission to do work within County Road right-of-way across Cherokee. Charter Communications proposes to bore across Cherokee for approximately 88 feet, installing a 1 to 2 inch or 1/2 inch HDPE conduit with underground fiber optic cable under normal stipulations in Precinct 3.
Yeah, we have verified the ingress and egress. We validated that it's 60 inches deep, so no issue from that perspective, and we've taken before pictures for the reclamation aspect of the contract.
All right, your motion to approve it?
Yes, sir. Motion so moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 17, discuss and possibly take action on the interlocal agreement between the town of Portree and Hunt County for road repairs on 6 roads within the city limits. David, you got any comments or?
Yeah, what this is it's on our, we have interlocal agreement with City of Poultry, and she has 6 roads. She wanted some repair work. On. I gave her a price on that, and the city council approved that price. So I make a motion that we approve this construction.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 18, discuss and possibly take action on the interlocal agreement between the town of Portree and Hunt County for road repairs on 10 roads within the city limits.
This one as well is going to be under our interlocal agreement with the City of Poultry. She's requested a bid on some road repair on 10 roads. I gave her a price, and their city council approved it. So I'll make a motion that we approve this construction under normal stipulations.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 19, the replat of Lot 8 of Countrywood Addition in Precinct 2. Brian, you want to brief us?
We're been getting quite a few of the replats down in Countrywood. This is it meets all county requirements, and pretty simple, dividing one lot into 2.
All right. This time I'll open it up to a public hearing. Anybody wishes to speak for or against this, please come forward, state your name and address. Is anybody online, Daniel? No, there's not. Okay. Being none, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 20, the final plat of Nichols Addition in Phase 3.
What precinct is this?
Precinct 1, sorry.
Precinct 1, pretty simple, one lot plat, has frontage on an FM road, and TxDOT has approved their culvert request or their driveway request, so should be no issues from them on that.
Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 21, the final plat of Northcutt Acres in Precinct 2.
Yeah, Precinct 2. Simple one lot plat. Existing house is on there. Now the septic system for this is going to have to be moved. It currently will cross where their proposed property line is. They've already been in touch with the contractor and health department and everything about getting the sprinkler heads moved. So I would recommend a conditional approval on them getting the health department and sprinklers and septic system all taken care of. Of course, health department won't sign the plat with any kind of issues like that anyway, so.
That's good policy for us to do it, though.
Yeah, move to approve conditionally on septic.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else before the court? Daniel, we need the executive session under item 1? 1 through 4. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn, or to go to executive session.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're in executive session at 11:49. See if we can get back up. We don't have to take any action, right?
That's correct.
All right, it's 12:29, we're back in regular session. Is there anything else before the court today? Not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 12:29. Thank you, everyone.